This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and 3 Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and 3 Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and 3 Counts starts now.
Ooh, what up, though? It is Knockouts and 3 Counts, and I made it and got time to take a piss before the show, but it wasn't on the UFC PI. But for a little bit later in the show, this is Knockouts and 3 Counts, and man, you know, J-Bone, you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier, man. Fuck's sake, I got a busy ass May, dude. A busy ass May.
It is.
I feel like literally every week of May is like completely like just bombed and booked. Like
It's a good problem to have, though, right?
no, totally. I mean, if you guys were missing it, which I don't know how you could have missed it, but make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. But with that being said, you know, we had one EC3 on the show with us this past Tuesday. You know, we were talking about all things control your narrative, and he was trying to enlighten us to the stylings of what we might see this Saturday at Control Your Narrative. Shout out to Doug Barnes, who we met down at WrestleMania at WrestleCon, was checking out the show and bought one of them Control Your Narrative shirts. You're welcome, EC3. You're welcome. But with that being said, man, I mean, what were your guys' thoughts on EC3 and what he said we have in store for Control Your Narrative?
Dude's intense, man. I'll tell you that. He means what he says, dude. I'm excited to see it, though. Like I said, it's like wrestling outside of the box in a sense. So it's always cool to get, you know, some fresh paint, some fresh artwork for wrestling, man. We're gonna see how it goes. I'm excited for it, though.
I mean, he's definitely adding his own flavor to the wrestling world, is what it sounds like. You know, like really controlling his own narrative, as one might put it. You know, trying his best to really put out there the information that he wants people to know. So I found him entertaining, but man, yeah, he was a ball of fire. That's for damn sure.
I mean, I'm ready to see what happens out of this show, but one thing that really stuck out to me about said show is the wide array and the wide range of people that are going to be on this card. You know, we've got people like EC3, you've got Adam Scherr, who's formerly known as Braun Strowman. You know, you've got Austin Aries, you've got Sarah Rowe, you've got Weston Blake, you've got, I mean, and who knows who the hell else is going to show up on top of that. So I'm really interested to see that. You know, that's one of the things that EC3 talked about a little bit. So if you guys didn't get to see that show, you're in luck. Here's a little clip of that, and I can show you just what EC3 was talking about coming in store this Saturday at Control Your Narrative.
Has been very protective of herself. She's very happy being a stay-at-home mom who, you know, goes bow hunting in the woods and lifts weights. That's cool. That's a perfect life for me. So kudos to her. But her outside wrestling booking was the first time because it engaged her and intrigued her. You know, Blake, like, he's the perfect testament of what I want to do, because within the industry, like Weston Blake, you ask anybody like in AEW, you know, you ask the Revival, who's the best wrestler? You ask people within, you know, the WWE, who's the best in the ring wrestler? And all the people that have been in the ring with him will say Weston Blake, but you may not know that being fans. Like, he's been in good matches, he's done cool things, but like,
it's he's like not the star out there.
Right. It's like knowing how to play the guitar. Like, you play the guitar and you play it very well. Well, who's your favorite guitarist? And if you name somebody that's not, you know,
somebody else's favorite.
Yeah, but like, you're naming somebody that, well, this guy on this jazz album I saw once was so phenomenal, but like, you know, the mainstream doesn't know that yet. So bringing that story to life, and he truly is. And yeah, so many interesting, like Austin, I really went off on this earlier, but what's the mental health of somebody who's been canceled from the industry they love and they grew up in, who wants to finish their, career in a strong leadership role. Where can he go where someone's, not afraid of, the backlash just because in theory he has a different opinion than people online, but, in practice, lies spread so quickly on the internet, and like one malicious rumor or lie rolls into a snowball effect where this is truth and this is, gospel and this actually happened when, it didn't. Like, where are they going to have that chance and opportunity? And I'm not saying anybody, like, there's some sinister pricks who've done some horrible shit that will never be a part of Control Your Narrative. But like, when you sit down and talk to somebody eye to eye, tell me the truth, they tell you the truth, nobody else can tell you anything. Who do you believe? So giving him a place and a forum to finish strong and give back, because the conversation I had with him wasn't about, I want to wrestle and be, world champion. It was like, I want to end my career giving back to the next generation and, becoming a leader for them so this business can survive and thrive further. And when you're one of the best wrestlers in the world and have a career to back it up, how are you going to pass that up?
I can't blame you on that. Hey, we got a question from one of the listeners. They want to know what your So that was a little bit of our interview with EC3, man. I'm looking forward to seeing what we're going to get to at Control Your Narrative. If any of you guys are going to check it out, let us know in the comments. And if you're not going to go, let us know why in the comments. But yeah, dude, I enjoyed that one. Like you said, he was definitely not a hard one to get it out of. He was raring and ready to go. I feel like we're going to be in for a wild time come this Saturday, dude.
Yeah. Cool thing is, like, you don't really know, you know what I mean? 'Cause it's so fresh and new. It's like, there's no way to know, like, what to expect there. So, like I said, fresh paint, dude, fresh artwork. It should be interesting.
Fresh paint of coat. I'm looking forward to it. I know Whip's going to be there. Devin's supposed to be with us. I mean, dude, knockouts and 3 counts is going to be in full effect at Harpo's this weekend. Hell, we've been at Harpo's quite a lot lately, huh?
We get around, dog. We get around. That's for sure.
To Harpo's and back, that's for sure.
Hey, Cody, if you're watching it, what were your thoughts on Harpo's when we went? What up, though? And I would be remiss if I just let it go by. Shout out to one of our sponsors, Cody Caudill. I see in the comments. Shout out to Caudill's lawn service and snow removal. Like I said, check them out if you want to get your lawn looking right for the spring and summer. Cody's your guy. Like I said, the link is in the description. All right. Well, we talked a little bit about that stuff, but let's talk a little bit about AEW, and then we'll talk about all these fights that we've got coming in here, because I've also still got some things to get off my chest about UFC 274 as well. But J-Bone, what were your thoughts on AEW Dynamite?
Man, look, AEW, man, like we were talking about earlier, they got what it takes to put together these like weekly cards, dude. But like these weekly cards could be on pay-per-view. You know, and we've seen that firsthand with the Darby and Jeff Hardy. The whole Owen Hart tournament thing, like, dude, that could have been a whole one night thing, and I would have bought it. You know what I mean? Like, the random matches that they have throughout this tournament so far are so good, and like, we don't even know that we need them. You know what I mean? Until they happen. Like, what was the one last, like Dax versus Adam Cole, dude?
Yeah,
banger. That's just not something you would see. You know what I mean? And it was great. Darby and Hardy, I would have paid a lot of money to see that. But hey, I'm not going to complain that they gave it to me for free. Intense, almost uncomfortable to watch. I don't know how these guys walk today, but clash of generations, right? That's what we love to see, man. It was amazing.
And if there was anybody you could really compare, you know, Darby to the way that he sends himself, it's the Hardy Boys, you know, the way they used to go. So
I would have paid a lot of money for that. Dude.
Used to go. I mean, Jeff was still going, man. They beat the dog shit out of each other in that match. And I mean, dude, Darby, if nothing else, man, you can never say that dude did not go for it, because good Lord, how that guy's body isn't just like in shambles yet.
Yeah.
I mean, dude.
You just hold your breath every time he takes off, you know? It's like, oh no, you're like,
please don't die, please don't die. Oh shit, he didn't die. That was cool.
Much, man, but yeah, like I said, great match, dude. That's just another thing in that tournament. Like, you didn't even You don't expect these kind of matches. You know what I mean? The fact that we're getting these like classic good wrestling matches, dude, it's awesome. And it's a little bit for everybody too. You got that one. That was what, no rules, no DQ. And then you
what
got
about FTR facing each
the
other?
FTR match. Who was the other one? There was another one. Like I said last night, Adam Cole and Dax. Who was it? Ray Phoenix and who'd Ray Phoenix take out? A banger match last week.
He had one with was it Dante? Not Dante Martin. Fuck.
Either way, great match, dude.
If anyone can remember who it was he's facing, I'm having a little bit of a relapse right now. So fucking remind me in the comments. But yeah, dude.
It was Dante Martin. It was Dante Martin.
I was right. Hot damn. See, right, I don't need you to remind me of shit. That's why they make me the host in this
classic
bitch.
Matches, dude. And like the fact that it's the Owen Hart tournament, like how cool is that, dude? If you're a wrestling fan, you're an old school wrestling fan, you know how important Owen Hart was to the business. So the fact that he's getting that shine,
and that they had Martha Hart at the show.
Got Martha there, like, dude, that's just good for wrestling. That's something that wrestling has missed over the years. Like, you never got to see more Owen Hart stuff, in WWE after the whole tragedy and everything because of what all the shit that's going down. But like now that it's here, it gives people an opportunity to really like, oh yeah, Owen Hart, like he was so important to the business and he influenced so many wrestlers. I think it's cool as shit that they got that opportunity to do that tournament.
I agree 100%. I'm just so glad that he's finally reassociated with wrestling because, Martha didn't want to have anything to do with WWE for obvious reasons for years. And so for him to be back involved and to see what we've gotten out of the tournament, like the tournament hasn't been shitty. Yeah. Like on the men's side or the women's side, we had Jamie Hayter versus Tony Storm. Tony Storm picked up the dub. I mean, like I say, they're not phoning it in. It's not like it's all throwaway matches. They're putting people in matches that you genuinely want to see what's going to happen and be like, oh shit, I really don't know who's going to go to the next round. Yeah. To me is
what do you think about this Joker thing? Because I didn't really dig into the Joker thing. So was it tomorrow night is the Samoa Joe versus the Joker match? Well, so is that just a mystery person?
It's a mystery opponent, but I mean that with them, who knows? Maybe it could be somebody from New Japan. Maybe it could be somebody that they're bringing into AEW. I mean, they haven't really said who it's going to be. I mean, you got any ideas on who you think it'll be? Do you think it's somebody they're going to bring in, or
thinking like that's a tough feat for if you're just bringing somebody. If it's going to be, somebody quote unquote super tough, you got to be pretty damn tough to take on Samoa Joe, dude. You know what I mean? So
Samoa Joe's a bad motherfucker.
He's a bad dude. So who do you get for that? You know what I mean? I don't know, man. But that's the beauty of it, right? Unexpected. Right. We can't figure it out. So that's what makes for good.
We don't need to figure it out. Just shut the fuck up and let's watch them fight. If you guys are watching, do you got any ideas on who you think the AEW Jokers are going to be, both in the men's and women's tournaments? I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. But let's talk about MJF for a minute. This guy is hated everywhere he goes. Then you go to Long Island, and they love him like he's a saint. Guy comes out in his Islanders jersey with MJF on the back and all that, and we see Wardlow come down the ring with his handcuffs off and get his handcuffs taken off and all that. Man, how are you feeling about MJF and Wardlow? Because, man, the way they've built Wardlow up through this shit, man, they have built him out to be a killer.
Yeah, the story has been great with that, dude, but like you said, with MJF, it's like, how do you like this guy? First of all, I know he's from Long Island, the hometown boy and all that. Like, you play to the crowd. And, like, you see when he's coming out, he's, like, putting himself in the crowd. He's fist bumping everybody. Like, total face work, dude. But, like, I think it was JR that said it best. He's like, this guy will come out and he'll smile in your face and then stab you in the back. He comes out wearing that jersey and he'll sign with the Maple Leafs tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, that is MJF, dude. But
he's not wrong, but that's also the thing that will make him a good babyface if he ever decides to go that way, because that means he can flip the switch off and on. If you guys are just joining the stream, make sure you hit subscribe, like it, share it, invite somebody to watch this shit, and please join in on the conversation. What are your thoughts on MJF?
The point I was getting to, like, are you ever gonna trust him as a legit babyface? Because he's so good at being the heel, dude. Like
You're not wrong.
I could never trust him. You know what I mean?
But think about it. That's the same thing you could say for like a Triple H too.
Randy Orton, perfect example.
At some
Perfect
point,
example.
they're going to spin it that direction. They're going to. So
You got to try it. Yeah, you got to try it. Whatever puts money in your pocket. But
I think it's interesting how much he keeps like throwing out the 2024 thing. Like that's kind of I'm like, damn, he is really
not a bad
pushing that
move.
button.
It's not a bad move. He's going into business for himself, dude. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
making
but
people
boy,
wonder.
It is, and we're talking about it right now. It is what it is. MJF's got people talking, man. Let's talk about what happened at the business end of it, though. So MJF comes in, they got him sitting there at a table. It's your typical wrestling contract signing setup. But obviously, Wardlow, if you've been paying attention, has been handcuffed every time he comes down to the ring. MJF makes the mistake of taking the handcuffs off, and they unveiled what the stipulations are going to be in order for Wardlow to get this match with MJF. So in order for him to get this match with MJF, I am really starting to wonder, did MJF's parents kick his ass with a belt when he was a kid? Like, I just want to know, because if you think about it, when he faced Cody, he had to get 10 lashes of a belt on Cody. Now, in order for Wardlow to get his match with MJF's going to whip the shit out of him on AEW. So, I don't know, man. If you pay attention to Busted Open, shout out to our guy, Ryan McKinnell and Dave LaGreca. You heard MJF's mom on Busted Open this morning, and she doesn't seem to understand it either. So, what are your guys' thoughts on the stipulation for MJF versus Wardlow?
So what the first one is the 10 lashes, right?
Yep. So he's got to get MJF gets to whip him 10 times with a belt.
I don't know, dude. You'd like to think like the dude was probably a snotty nosed ass kid, little asshole. He's probably doing what his parents wanted to do. He's like, this is what they want to do to me. I'm gonna do it to somebody else because I'm that good of being a dick. That I'm just gonna do this on TV. I don't know. It's something about that.
To be honest with you, I'm shocked that he didn't go like a little bit steeper. And the reason I say that is because you got to imagine he's had this big son of a bitch wrapped up in handcuffs for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we've watched him beat big guy after big guy after big guy and destroy security detail after security detail after security detail. What are you going to do when this big son of a bitch don't have handcuffs on no more and just is coming to rip your ass apart?
I got it pulled up right now, and I'm just watching him throw the security guards around. If you can call that security guards.
It's almost like Top Golf with security guards. Chuck them.
Pretty much. And then you got Mark Sterling in there. It's like,
and then poor Mark Sterling is taking the bump through the table.
Yeah, he's just tossing everybody around. I don't know. There's got to be something. I don't know. It's MJF, dude. He's gonna find a way to piss you off, right?
Look, dude. All I know is I'm definitely looking forward to getting to Vegas to see that match now.
I feel like it's all there's got to be a strategy. Like he's not just gonna be like, okay, do this, and I'll give you a match. It's MJF, dude. There's something behind it all. So I don't know.
He wants to humiliate him, hoping he can piss him off and catch him slipping.
Yeah.
He wants to humiliate him, hoping he goes in there with a hot head and he can catch him slipping. That's what he's hoping for.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Right there.
That's Wrestling 101. Ric Flair wrote the book on that shit.
Right.
I spent more money on spilt liquor than you made. Just kidding. But
that's gonna be you in Vegas, dude.
Hey, Megaran can tell you all about what happened the last time I was in Vegas. Let's just say them bottomless margaritas are a motherfucker since we just got out of Cinco de Mayo. I'm just saying. They taste good, ladies and gents. Just in case you didn't know, they taste really good. Did you guys have any Cinco de Mayo margaritas? I want to know in the comments. Like I said, if you guys are new here, make sure you like the page, share it, comment, subscribe, all those things. It really does help. Okay, now another thing we got to talk about when it comes to AEW is it's already been announced that we've got CM Punk versus Hangman Page for the AEW World Championship at Double or Nothing. Now, what are your thoughts on what we saw from Punk last night? You know, we saw MJF come out in the Islanders jersey with MJF on the back. Punk comes out with the Islanders jersey on, but a Tavares Islanders jersey when he went to Toronto to the Maple Leafs, and they booed the shit out of CM Punk even on AEW. So, what are your thoughts on CM Punk versus Hangman Page? And do you got how are you feeling about who's going to win going into it so far?
Like I'm still going with Punk because, like I said, like me and Corey were saying a couple weeks ago, it's like when is the payoff for the comeback? You know what I mean? Like it's got to happen eventually, you would think. But I feel like, dude, I mean, let's not forget how good Punk was as a heel, right? Like one of the best. I feel like
Straight Edge Society was gold.
Dude, loved it. I feel like he's tipping his toes to see, like even the dark stuff. You know, after they went off the air, I think he had a little run in with Hook, right? And I feel like he's trying to see how they would react. And maybe we're using Hangman for that. Maybe like you said, Hangman he's like the one they're building up, you know, from scratch here in AEW. So maybe we're gonna see some heel Punk, which would be cool. I wouldn't mind it, but hopefully we see him heel Punk as the champ because I don't want to be wrong.
So are we getting another long ass? If he does, do you think we get a long ass reign like we had when he was in WWE? Because, you know, for anybody who's unaware, I mean, until Roman Reigns did it, CM Punk still held the longest title reign up till a few months ago.
I don't think we get it that long. There's just too much good competition in AEW, especially at his age. I don't think the value of that reign would be, you know, much there. But I think if he wins, we got a lot of good heel champion stuff, you know what I mean, which is good. I love that stuff. And I think you see, like, he did he didn't do it the best, but the buckshot lariat, I mean, that's classic heel work, right? Taking somebody's finisher. So I think we're just gonna see in the scratch of the surface of maybe some heel CM Punk.
It's like a big fuck you, pretty much.
Pretty much.
I mean, that's how
the biggest fuck you in wrestling, if you want to put it that way.
I mean, that's how I interpret that. I'm really looking forward to seeing this match, but man, so let me ask you this. As far as where we're going right now, I think CM Punk might walk out with the title. But with that being said, do you think if Punk wins with Hangman only having a title for a few months, do you think that it does any damage to Hangman's credibility as far as it being like a main event guy or, you know, in the championship picture?
I think it all depends on how it happens. You know what I mean? Like we talk about the heel stuff. Maybe CM Punk comes away with some, you know, some shady victory at Double or Nothing, or maybe he completely cheats and the crowd's like, what the fuck, dude? You know what I mean? And then, you know, you get another 2 months out of it, and then maybe Hangman can get it back. You know, be a 2-time champ, and then go on.
2-time.
You know what I mean? So, plenty of ways you could do it. Cool thing is, we're interested. I'm interested. I'm with it, dude.
I mean, like I said, I'm leaning towards Punk taking the belt right now. But I mean, Hangman's been through some bangers already as champ as it is. So, I mean, I'm not counting Hangman out by any means. I mean, he's definitely going to be one of the young bucks for them. That's going to be one of the pillars for them for a while. Yeah. I mean, Hangman's still got a lot of, he's got a lot of tread left on that, on them tires. But Cody chiming in the comments, Punk will win, but he won't have as long as his WWE hold. Like J Bones said, it's too much talent to keep it like he.
Yeah, that's why I didn't really have anything to add, because I feel like he kind of summed my point up as well perfectly. It's like I feel as though his run is going to come. Hangman, to you guys' point, is still young in his career building in AEW and stuff. He's got plenty of time to be able to win the belt back if that's the direction they want to go and stuff. So I feel as though it will happen, but I don't think it'll be some spectacular, 4-year run or something like that.
Like I said, who knows what he's got left, in
my opinion, their best direction with all the talent and stuff that they've got is just to keep that belt rolling, keep it active, 6 months, 8 months, maybe a year or something like that runs, but keep that thing moving.
Yeah.
See, I agree when you're talking the TNT championship, but I've always liked long world title reigns.
Yeah, same
They
here,
don't.
but I feel like
They shouldn't all be long, but
in this
I don't got a
particular
problem with
situation,
one.
though, like we said, you don't want to miss the bus on the Punk thing because the comeback was huge, big story, probably the biggest story. You remember how it just the momentum was going. Every week you see him Punk in different matches, different stuff. Now it's like, okay, what's left for Punk? Because I mean, we don't know. Like we said on weeks before, we don't really know what his contract's like. We don't really know how long he's got left. So you don't want the comeback to happen after all those years, all the big story, all the buildup for the 7 years, and then it just be for what? What'd you do when you came back? Hey, you didn't win the title. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Well,
what was it
let me
for
ask you
if
this
you
though:
don't?
do you think if he wins because of the way wrestling fans are and stuff, do you think that there's any real backlash that comes off of that? Like, say if he wins and there's like this backlash on internet, like oh, you rushed him right to the title, or blah 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 blah. Do you think if he wins the championship, do you think we're going to see any of that?
I mean, I think we'll hear it because the internet, first of all, the internet trolls, they suck. You ain't have wrestling internet isn't happy no matter what. We're gonna all find a way to bitch about something, right? It's just the way of the world these days. But I just think it depends on how it happens. Like, let's face it, Punk is older, right? Hangman, probably the quote unquote elite in the company. So I don't think he should win clean. And if that's what we're gonna do to segue into some heel Punk, like I said, one of the best to do it, man. CM Punk was one of the greatest heels in WWE from the past years, but like, why not do it that way? Get him over that way. Get people to hate him because we know Punk can make you hate him. But if he cheats to win or does it in some crazy, weird, something, hey, now we hate the guy. And what was it all for? We still get the title reign. The comeback is now complete in a sense. And we're moving forward with a different version of CM Punk. And I don't think you want to miss that, especially being CM Punk, one of the best heels ever. So,
Well, that's a good segue into something else I wanted to talk about. So you talk about different sides of people. We're seeing a different side of Chris Jericho and the Jericho Appreciation Society, but they have picked themselves a hell of a fight with the Blackpool Combat Club. So, what are your thoughts on what we see with this, man?
dude, they are fucked. I'm just gonna put it that way, dude. That's gonna be intense, bro. I think it's cool.
Them are
though.
some nasty SOBs, and we're not even.
Dude.
That's not even counting Regal being on the outside. Did you see that fucking right hand or the left hand that he blasted?
Hey, Regal's a bad
Jericho.
dude. Don't get it twisted.
Regal
mess
Regal
you up.
will legit tie your ass up in a knot, dude. But he socked the shit out of Jericho on the floor.
Yeah. But that's just good shit, though. Like that's one thing I do like about AEW, man. They got like faction warfare. You know what I mean? I love seeing. I've always liked that kind of shit. I'm old school wrestling stuff. So like the old school 5-on-5, 4-on-4 Survivor Series match was like my shit. You know what I mean? It's like to see the factions get into it, and then they always got something different. The blood and guts match, the stadium stampede match. So they're coming up with different factionalized like matches. So hopefully we get something out of that, right? I don't know, when's Blood and Guts? Is that coming up anytime soon?
Not sure. I'd have to look. I don't know where they're at on their channel or on their where that's at on their calendar. Like I said, I like the factions too, as long as you make them have a story. I think Blackpool Combat Club is head and shoulders probably the coolest one they have in AEW at this point right now.
Yeah.
Jericho is just showing again why he is, why he is one of the GOATs, dude. The way he's able to continue to reinvent himself and come back in a different light. And, if nothing else, look at all the people that he's raised up in his time in AEW. Like pretty much everybody that's in that group with him in the Appreciation Society, except for Jake Hager, are all like young up and guys that now are getting that light because they're with Chris Jericho.
Exactly. He's giving back, and he always has. Jericho's always been that way. Jericho is one of the more smarter people in wrestling, period, dude.
Oh, hands down.
And that's what makes him so great. He knows what he's doing. But yeah, like you said, just getting the rub from Jericho, being tied in on camera work with Jericho does wonders for these young guys, man. So it's perfect. He knows what he's doing out there.
I couldn't agree more. Now, do you think with the Blackpool Combat Club, do you think that we see them add another member, or do you think we see like a fourth person come so it's 4-on-4
I don't
against
know. I think we're gonna tie in Eddie Kingston. Yeah, I think we've seen that. But I think with Moxley and Kingston, the way they worked before, their connection, their relationship, I think we just bring them. We don't really need Kingston in that, you know what I mean? But like, why not?
Well, he's got to get some get back. I mean, he got his face caught on fire, dude. Like, if you burnt my face.
And Kingston just adds that layer to that team, you know what I mean? Not like maybe we don't want him to be in the group, but like just, hey, come fight with us because you got those guys, the Blackpool Combat Club, who just brutality, period. And then Kingston's your street fighter. You know what I mean? So that's a group you don't want to mess with.
I want to see Mox and Danielson grab them tag straps, dude.
Yeah, I think that'll come too. I think that'll we'll get.
I want to see. Yeah, I want to see Mox and Danielson grab them tag straps, dude. All right. Before we get out of AEW, we have to talk about it a little bit. Darby versus Jeff Hardy, son of a bitch. Like how either of those two are even walking is above my pay grade. So,
dude,
I mean,
Corey,
I would say that
see some of that, right?
I got to see the clips of it because once I had seen that match played out, I was like, Jeff Hardy used to be my favorite growing up. So then now that he's made his transition and everything, and then against somebody like Darby, who I consider one of the more action-packed, newer guys, and I had to go see what was up.
I just wanted to see like your thoughts on it because for somebody like you said, you're not like the bigger wrestling guy. Like that was something like, dude, even like just the clips themselves, you're like, oh, like, oh shit.
Yeah,
I was seeing stuff on Twitter.
The best way to sum it up for me, man, is with everything going, like, I can't bring back exact details from what I remember seeing, but I mean, to your point, like literally they just brought it in every facet of the match. There wasn't really no like low point or anything from the highlights that I seen and stuff. It was a full-fledged, it lived up to kind of what you would expect these two to be able to put on. It lived up to what you would think they'd be able to, and not necessarily what you would expect, I guess you could say. Like they did a great job, it seems like.
I wonder what Tony Khan says, like, as they're hitting the curtain, like, listen, guys, just don't die, okay? Just don't break any bones. Don't go out there and die on my show, please. We just don't need that. But like, even like Jeff Hardy, dude, how old is Jeff Hardy now?
In his 40s.
In his 40s?
Yeah.
Taking a bump. He did a swanton on the steel stairs, dude. Like, these guys have no care.
And not just on the stairs, it was on the side of the stairs. Like, not even on, like, the flat part. Like, on the edge of that bitch. Like, that sucked. There ain't no way. And then he goes to Swanton bomb the Darby. You're not lying.
Yeah. Well, even the way the match started, right? Like, the bell rings, Darby hits the ropes and just nails him, and then he flies to the outside, and, like, I don't even know what he called
Dude, and he came out like a fucking fastball. Like, right out under the bottom rope, just full
high level. Like, you can't blink during that match, right? And it's everything we wanted. It like you said, it's two generations clashing. I'd have paid for it, man. But like, I'm glad
that
we
match
got it.
I would have been totally cool with us seeing that in Vegas. Son of a bitch.
Right.
And you know what? Maybe once they've seen how well this kind of the feedback from that match has been, maybe very well will. Maybe that was just like the tip of the iceberg, but they'll showcase the depths of the rest of the ice later on, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I agree with you, dude. The crazy thing about,
dude, you think maybe they tag up because they got the whole Bucks.
They're not going to tag. They're not going to tag up because I think they're going to run I think they're still going to run the whole thing out with the Hardys. But that being said, I think they knew that this match was going to be like that, and I think they wanted to put it in this tournament to have it and be able to say, well, it's a first time ever matchup. I think at some point we're definitely going to see them tangle it up again. But I agree with you. It's definitely. I think for what you hoped it would be, dude. Like, see. Cody in the comments. I don't think that's the end of Hardy and Darby. You can't argue that, dude. And the thing of it is, I really hope that I really hope that we can, as Darby matures, like I say, I think there's so much that can be done with that. Who knows, man? Maybe Darby ends up being their third if we ever see AEW come through with these trios championships, huh?
Yeah,
I keep hearing them rumored, and I love the idea of trios championships.
You got enough factions over there, man. There's plenty of them. So,
and you already had the Ring of Honor 6-man titles,
right? So, and especially having Ring of Honor, you know what I mean? So, I feel like that we need that. We don't even know we need that, but we need the trios.
And then they need to just bring in STP and let them win the belts again.
There we go. There we go.
You don't got to let Shane and them do anything, but I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just saying I enjoyed, for the most part, everything that we saw from AEW, but, you know what's got money written all over it? Whether we're talking merch money or people wanting to see it and all that kind of shit. Before I tell you that, though, make sure if you're getting your money together, make sure you check out the homies at G3 Payroll and Tax. Like I said, Jack and the guys will get you together. Like I said, you know what the deal is. Tell them
that's where we're going with that.
Me too. That's why I was like, where?
I thought that's where we're going with that, dude. Dang it. You got me. Funny. But wait, are we off the AEW stuff now? Are we getting off the AEW
So
stuff?
No. I had somewhere I was going with it. Like I said, what I think is going to be money in AEW is fucking Hookhausen, damn it.
All right.
Hookhausen is going to be the shit.
Bone to pick. I got a bone to pick with all that. Why do you got to do Danhausen like that, bro?
What do you mean?
Dude, his AEW debut, and what he last 30 seconds with Tony Nese? He went in there and got distracted and got kicked in the face twice and just squashed like that. Come on, man. Don't do it.
Well, they jumped him, and that's why Hook came out. And then you got to feel good because Hookhausen came.
It was his debut, though. Like,
yeah, but
it was his debut, his in-ring debut.
You're not wrong, because if that was WWE, wrestling fans would have been bitching a storm.
Right, and maybe that's just what I'm groomed to like. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe this is a little more, reality in a sense. But back to your point, Hookhausen is going to be fucking awesome.
Entertaining as fuck.
Dude,
Entertaining as fuck.
I'm with that, dude.
I don't know. Just the fact that Hook doesn't say nothing, and then you got Danhausen that's Danhausen, and the fact that Hook can like twist you up in a pretzel and suplex you all over the place. I don't know, dude. I'm interested to see how this plays out.
I just like how he sealed the deal with him by just giving him a bag of chips. Like, here, chips.
But were they cursed bag of chips?
It worked. It looks like it worked. Shaking hands and all that. So hey, what are you gonna do? That's how you make a deal
like
these
some
days.
shit. Yo, D Holland, what up, my guy?
What up, Donald?
Do you got any thoughts on Hookhausen, bro? Do you like Hookhausen? That's what we're talking about. Do you like Hookhausen? Because I am thoroughly fucking entertained by Hookhausen.
Hook's like the best dressed dude in wrestling right now. Coming on the hoodie and track pants, dude's going for comfort.
And he's got Action Bronson did his first theme song. Like he gets a dope song off the rip.
He's got a banger ass theme song, dude. I'll give him that.
Hey man, my man's got that walk down the ramp. Like I said, I'm interested to see what we're gonna see from Hookhausen. Shout out to Hookhausen, one half of Hookhausen and Danhausen. He's very nice, he's very evil, but he's also from here in Michigan. But with that being said, that tag team is like something out of a video game. But do you know what I learned at work today? Do you know that they're literally giving scholarships away for people to play fucking video games in college and shit now? At like notable colleges and shit?
Yes.
Like esports is like a real thing?
Yeah, because every school's trying to get in on that esports craze. So that's exactly
Dude, the doc
that
comes through my work today came through and said that his kids who go to school in Illinois, his kid went to like, I forgot where they did the tournament at. They made it like third in regionals for like what damn game was it? Rocket League. What the fuck? And they're getting paid to go to college for this. And then like his
kids, man.
Well, I know.
Come on.
I was getting in trouble for staying home from school so I could play Call of Duty, and these bastards get to go to school for free for it.
If I'd have known all those years of playing video games could have paid off, I'd have stuck with it, damn it. I was told to go play outside and get a job and all that. Come on,
Got to
man.
do something real with your life, not pay for your college tuition. Come on now.
Yeah, right. Now you're making tons of money and going to school for free by playing video games.
Wild.
Come
Imagine,
on, guys.
imagine how your guys' how our grandparents feel about that kind of stuff. They hear the news like that, like, God damn it, we were wrong this whole time.
I'm just going to tell you right now, when we get done with this show, I'm going to go and tell my mom, like, you know what? All that time you bitched about giving me a Nintendo 64 and a PlayStation and all the
Look
stuff,
at how
if
far
you'd
I
have just
could've
left
went
me the
with
fuck
life,
alone,
man.
I could have gone to school
Hey,
and I wouldn't have
and you
to
know
work
what?
in the post office.
For
But no, you said video
me
games
alone.
weren't important. You
Yeah,
said
all these kids-
video games weren't important. I could have been living my best life, shooting motherfuckers on the video game and going to
Right.
college for free. And now I'm slinging the mail at the post office. It's all your fault. Damn it.
So what do we say about people like me that still gamed and didn't end up getting anything out of it?
Hey, it's never too late,
What's
bro.
the opposite side?
It's never
I'm
too
in the
late,
same
man.
boat. Did you not just miss what I just
It's
said?
never too late.
I
I
know.
still play the game and I didn't get to go to college, damn it.
It's never too late.
Hey, no, honestly, that's one thing.
Appreciate
It's
you, D. Holland.
it truly is amazing to see, like, the world transitioning in that way. Like, even, I was gonna bring up PFL later on. Their whole venue that they did down in Texas was at the esports arena. Like, that was the whole name of the establishment and everything. So crazy to see. It's wild to see, that's for sure.
It is wild. We're just finding new ways to advance in this world, and video games is finally getting its shine.
Hey.
They said we'd never make nothing of ourselves. Come on.
If you would have just let me stay home to play Call of Duty, we
No.
might not have been having
Who do you
this
think you are,
conversation.
sending me to school and making
Trying to
a
get me something that
job?
could maybe get me a job. You didn't know I could have just played video games all day? I could
Making
have
me go
just played
play
video games
outside.
instead of driving the 2 minutes down the street to Vogue Tech, like the day that
Making
you
me-
caught me when I was sitting on the landing and all that. Shout out Pee Wee. Man, way to make me feel old that I've known you for 15 years, all because we played Call of Duty. Son of a bitch. But
now I got friends and stuff. Now I can't
I
play
know,
video
like-
games. I got friends, weddings, job interviews.
Speaking
Damn
of weddings, bro. Speaking of weddings, we got to go to a wedding tomorrow. Uncle Chase is getting fucking hitched,
Shout out Uncle
Congratulations,
Chase.
man.
and our appearance has been requested. So I don't know, man. If I don't come back, you know where I died at.
That's gonna be.
And
a
I
hell of a
just saw
wedding, man.
something that somebody else is going to die here in a minute once this fucking show's over. But that's a story for another time.
Uh-oh.
Oh my
Gotta-
God. Yeah.
Everything all right over there? You want to?
It's all right for me, but it ain't going to be all right for them when I walk out of here.
Oh, boy.
It ain't going to be all right for them when I walk out of here, but it's all right. But, Corey, since you've already queued up the MMA banter, what do you got for Corey's Corner?
One of those. So, Corey's Corner in this week. I got to lead the way, of course, with my favorite runner-up league being PFL. They did an amazing job this past week, man. They were stars. They're, of course, Kyle cuts out right when I was about to mention his name.
Something's going on over there, dude. I don't know if you want to know.
But Kyle's loves to bring up the fact that they didn't necessarily had the most successful signings with their big names and stuff in the most recent years and stuff. And Anthony Pettis came out there and fucking brought it in a lightweight showcase. He wasn't even actually originally scheduled to fight on that night. I'm not necessarily sure what happened. I think it might have been visa issues with his opponent. But they moved him back to being the third event, the last of the first half of their season, as PFL likes to call it. And he really showed out, man. Took the leaderboard number one. And you just love to see it, man. Ends up finishing the fight in the first round with a mounted triangle. It just couldn't have been more of a reminiscent of the classic Showtime performances that we used to love watching, or at least I know I did. And another thing is you could tell he just took this season so fucking serious. He was posting pictures on his social medias and stuff, and he legitimately looked like his younger, smaller brother. He was that just jacked and ripped everywhere. So shout out Anthony Pettis. I hope the ball keeps rolling in the second half of the season. Always a big Showtime fan. So yet again, another one that put out a hell of a showcase. Rory McDonald taking on multiple-time Bellator vet in Brett Cooper. It just yet again levels above him on the ground, man. Got him down, laid in some significant ground and pound, and ended the fight. You couldn't have asked for more if you're a fan of the old Red King. You know, Rory McDonald has definitely kind of taken a step back in his career. You could definitely it was apparent in Bellator that he just maybe didn't have that fighting edge anymore, and to see him be able to go in there and still do those type of performances a couple of years following is good to see, because he's young, man. He's still only like 33 or 34 or something. So wow. With all the wars and stuff he's showcased throughout his career, this is normally the time in people's fighting career when they finally start to earn a significant income. So I would hate to see him kind of lose interest right at the most opportune time, I guess you could say. So shout out Rory McDonald, able to get it done. And Kayla Harrison with another. Honestly, this was kind of lackluster if you're used to seeing the Kayla Harrison that a lot of us are, and the one that comes in and is always talking so ferocious about her game, wanting to take these challenges against the Cyborgs and the Amanda Nunes's and stuff of the world. She Kyle is killing something right now. I believe it. If he ain't back by now, something's going on. But Harrison,
oh shit.
She,
oh boy, no pressure. Thanks, Donald.
Definitely an interesting performance for her, because if she's claiming to be on that level and even better than those girls, I feel as though she should have possibly maybe done more in that fight to be able to showcase that. Other than that, the rest of my corner ends with Bellator this weekend. I feel as though, like always, if I don't talk about it, nobody else is. So MVP making his return against Logan Storley. Great fight. Yet again, I feel like nobody's fucking talking about. Logan Storley doesn't get a ton of attention, but he's done really good things over in Bellator. MVP is their, call him what you want. He puts his hand up here because he's the top of Bellator, in my opinion. And to see what he did against Douglas Lima last time, I was hoping to see the actual title fight play out versus him and Korshkov. But since we can't get that, I will definitely take a runner-up in him versus Logan Storley.
I'm not a fan of MVP.
Hey, you're back.
I know.
I mean, I don't disrespect the guys. I don't disrespect the guy's skills, but I feel like they've babied his fucking record so much that it's hard for me to put him in elite category like that. Logan Storley is not I'm not saying Logan Storley is a bum, but it's not like MVP has gone through like all the tough competition that Bellator could have to offer.
Yeah, very true. And you could definitely say that they definitely picked and choose his matchups.
For how many years he's been in there?
But as of late, that is not the case.
Yeah, but eventually, that's probably because they finally said, look, motherfucker, we're done throwing you tomato cans for you to hit spinning back kicks on. Now we got to actually see if you can beat somebody.
And to his point in his last fight, whether boring is sin or not, he beat Douglas Lima pretty convincingly. Yeah. So
that was a good win. And again, I'm not saying that he's not a fun fighter to watch at times, but I'm sorry. It's not even that I'm not a fan of watching the man fight, but all I'm saying is, for as much as they've hyped him up, if you really look at who he's fought, I mean, if there were ever a case for an MMA guy that got babied with that shit,
in that regard, but like I say, in the last couple of years, you got to look at you can only go off what's current, and besides, I think like I can't. Derek.
Okay, so
Anderson or
Lima
whatever.
was the first big win he's had in a while.
He fought Semtex, even though that was a boring ass fight as well. Another person I wanted to bring
After all
up
the
because
shit he talked about wanting to put him to sleep.
and then fights a boring fight with him. I get it, and that's why we get to see it this weekend, whether or not he's able to prove
Again,
himself.
I like Venom Page. I'm not saying he's not a good fighter, but I'm just saying, for as much as they hype this guy like he's the next fucking superstar, I just don't see it because I don't see a big enough body of work for me to be like, you know what, dude?
He could compete in the UFC at 170 because this, that, or the other, but you can't say that because he hasn't been proven. So to this point, he's just a Bellator guy that is a great showcase fighter. He's really good in the spots that you put him in, but it's really
the ones he's
sword,
supposed to win.
You know? Yeah. And that's what makes it so, I guess, aggravating as an MVP fan, right? Like, you can't argue with the guy. If he wants to just go in there, cash checks, and put on amazing performances, he's done that route. But if he does want to showcase himself as a legitimate championship level fighter, then that's the route you have to take. And like I've kind of noted here a couple times now, I feel as though the last couple of years project a different type of career path that he's taking. So I get the criticism because of the showcase, the step up fights that he's been in. He either lost or did not necessarily look incredibly impressive like he has in all these showcase fights of the past. So I'm still curious. I'm still very curious. I know I'll be watching come tomorrow, but really, I'm just as curious as like for the Lyoto Machida versus Leon Edwards' brother, Fabian Edwards. I'm kind of curious in that fight. Bellator just, man, like I said, leading into the whole point in bringing Bellator up, if I don't fucking talk about it, nobody is. So it's like
they find a way to make it interesting with these fighters though, because I used to love Lyoto Machida, dude. So like I seen he was on the card, and so I'm like, yeah, I got to see that. Machida was my guy, dude, until he got choked out by John Jones like that. But whatever.
All right, Donald, you have touched on something that I said we needed to talk about. Now, okay, UFC 274 was quite the adventure for me and J-Bone to watch because I was busy watching people get smashed with light tubes and trying to dodge getting stabbed with glass in the eye. But when I got to turn on said fights, I mean, this card, man, for starting out so killer, man, they really took a couple kicks to the balls, dude. Between
did you get to watch the whole main card?
I watched it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you got to watch the whole main card or not with how your guys' Saturday was playing out. With me being sick on my ass, I was able to watch from the beginning to end, whether dozed out half the time or not. But once I made it,
it wasn't hard at some point.
No, at a lot of points, unfortunately, man. And then once, like, the prelims themselves weren't any crazy thing to lead into the pay-per-view. And normally they do a pretty good job of stacking these, at least with noteworthy guys, especially to somebody like me who could be like, this guy, that guy, oh, we get to see this dude, and to me, they didn't necessarily do the greatest job of that. Like their highlight of their prelims was Blagoy Ivanov. Like that was like the biggest noteworthy guy that I could, maybe watching old Trinaldo go out there and still put on the performances that he's able to at like 43, 44 or whatever he is still entertaining. But man, once you lead into a pay-per-view like that, and it's so stacked, right? We got two great title fights, great because that's what we thought they were going to be at least. One of them ended up definitely living up to expectations, that being the main event, but the co-main was just a absolute, nothing fight. It was just a nothing, snooze fest isn't even right because it was just like, it was an absolute, like, there was just nothing. It was just unjudgeable even. Like, to the point where so many people were arguing online, are these rounds just 10-10s that nobody gets nothing for? Like, dude, I genuinely heard that fight discussed as it should have just been a no contest. It should have just like nobody
Yeah.
should have won. Nobody should have
Here's the
lost.
crazy part
It's
about
just
that. Like for that fight, for Rose to lose the title on a
Mhm.
fight like that, naturally you would want to see them have an immediate rematch, but holy hell, with how boring that fight was, I don't
Yeah, you
know
can't.
that they'll run it. I
You
mean, dude,
can't.
they said the
Mm-mm.
combined amount of strikes in between those two in the whole fight was 60 some punches in
Yeah,
5
in a
rounds.
5 round. Yeah.
Wow.
Not in 3 rounds, in 5 rounds. You could have an all-out wrestling war, and there would be way more strikes.
But that
thrown
was
in a
the other
3-round
thing.
fight.
The biggest thing that
it's
I
like,
didn't understand. The biggest thing that I didn't understand out of all of it is everyone knew going into the fight what Carla wanted was to take her
Mhm.
down and beat her up. But
Yeah.
Rose got up from every takedown. So
And
if I'm
actually
Rose,
looked
go ahead.
better in her and actually looked better the one time that she even implemented her
Yeah.
wrestling. So if you
Yeah.
wanted, if you're worried about getting taken down, I can tell you it's real hard to get taken down if you're on top.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, if you know you can get back up from getting taken down, then that gives you more freedom to strike. And I mean, that was the other thing. I felt like from the little bits of striking that we saw that Rose is a much better striker than Carla. So I just
Mhm.
don't understand why she didn't like open up more, because even once she finally did a little bit in the 5th round, it was like it was too little too late.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was far too little, too late. And then to just hear their coaches like Pat Barry is what he is, right? Like, love him for his fighting career, hate him for the Rose. However you feel about Pat Barry, his coaching has always left a lot to be desired, in my opinion. Every single time I've heard him in a corner, it just does not seem to scratch the itch that I would want as a corner. But to hear Trevor Whitman just kind of in the background, like, yeah, you're doing a great job. Like keep doing what you're
Yeah.
doing. And it's like,
He
Trevor,
just
dude, come on.
didn't
You
have
see, but
nothing for her.
but-
Yeah.
like,
I almost felt
I can
like Trevor. I almost felt like Trevor, though. I feel like he kind of like, if you kind of notice at a couple points, like more towards like the 3rd round or so, you could kind of hear Trevor like kind of trying to urge her when Pat was giving his thing, like, hey, you might want to change things up because we need to, throw a little bit.
But it wasn't assertive. It wasn't like he was saying it in a true way. He was kind of saying it passively, like, okay, time to throw, you're getting real comfortable in there. You're the best martial artist in the world, and
Yeah.
now go and showcase it. Like, instead of saying, like, you're the fucking best, why are you allowing this fight to play out the way it is? Like, and I think that's the biggest thing, right? Is it doesn't even seem like a lot of this, media vitriol or however the fan hate, whatever you want to label it as, none of it seems to be really going towards Carla. It's all towards Rose and the way that she fought that fight. And I think it's truly just because us as fans had such high expectations for a Rose fight and who she is, what she brings. I mean, like, all last week when we were breaking it down, all of us are just like, Thug Rose, let's go. Love to see it. Love to see her back at it. She's one of our favorite,
Mhm.
and for her to lay the egg like that, it's just, man.
There's no fire there, dude. It was the
No, and
weirdest thing, man.
yeah, it really was. It was just strange. And, like, I don't even, the pay-per-view had that feeling for me, especially after the Shogun fight. And the way that played out was the same type of fight to me, really. And then to see Tony get done the way he did, it was like,
Hey,
it took me a step back,
dude.
and then I'm like, okay, I got Rose though, and then I step into that fight, and man.
Look, I was gonna say this earlier. Guess who was the winner of the night for that pay-per-view? It was Frankie Edgar, because now he's no longer the top UFC meme of getting kicked in the face anymore. Now it's Tony Ferguson, man. Poor guy. I love Tony too.
That was a gorilla cookie for sure, boys.
That was something. Oh, I remember we were in the crowd sitting there for RPW, and I'm sitting next to Kyle, and I'm like, dude, look at this. He's like, holy shit. Like, he was out cold, dude.
Especially like as a Tony fan, right? I'm a fan of both of them. So I was kind of like, I'd want to see Tony do good. That's all I wanted to do, win, lose, or draw. I wanted to see him go out there and put on a game fight. Kind of like what I had said with the Aljamain Sterling fight leading into that one. I just want to see Tony at his best, win, lose, or draw. And to see that in the first round where he knocked him down, was able to land a bunch of clean punches, and was truly looking like he was the one leading the dance, man. It was like, oh shit, we got fucking T Fergs back. All right, let's go. You know, like I was hyped in the heart, you know, I felt it. I'm sick at the kitchen table, freaking 1 o'clock in the morning, hyped as shit. Like, let's go. Fucking Tony Ferguson's back. And then what, 15 seconds into the second round, it's like it just like my hopes and heart got shattered that night, man. Like, to see that rise and see the potential was still there. Like, that was the biggest thing that was hurting me as a fan of Tony Ferguson, was watching the potential just look like it wasn't there. And he showcased that. I don't know if it was the break. I don't know if it was new coaching. I don't know, whatever the case was. I love the fact that he's talking about actually taking his talents to a team, an actual like established team. Love the fact that Charles Oliveira reached out and said, you know, you're more than welcome to come down to Brazil and train with us. Tony needs some direction at this stage in his career, and I feel like that.
Do you think there's enough time for him to be able to turn that around, though, with all the miles he's got?
No.
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys next. I want to piggyback off Donald's comment on there. You know, how long does he have? Like, are you guys ready to see him hang it up?
That's a bad knockout, because he's already going to be out for at least 9 months because of that.
Yeah.
I was at that point really already before they announced this fight. I wanted to see him, like I said, you know, showcase himself at his best. And I feel as though we got to see that, and that he was definitely game and wanted to be there and everything else. So I don't think it's time. I think, like, competitively, is he ever remotely going to reach the heights that he did? No, I don't think that's in the cards. I truly don't. No matter how you shuffle the deck, I don't think that's how the cards lay out. But he definitely still has some fight left in him, and I feel as though, given matchups, fun fights, you know, stuff like that, I feel as though he could still win a lot of those as well. I don't think he's just going to be some guy that, you know, keeps on this skid. I think he can dig himself out, but I don't think it's time. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if it, you know, is. But
the problem with, like, Downs, he's 0-4 in his last 4 fights. It's like, dude, the way he fights and the type of guy he is, he wants those big fights. And like the level of competition where he's at, dude, it's just like,
I feel like the only real thing left for Tony at this point. I think the only real thing left for Tony at this point is if he goes like the super fight route.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
He would be great to fight like a Nate Diaz. He'd be great to fight like a Conor McGregor. He'd be great to fight little lesser name, but I really like the Dan Hooker matchup. I keep seeing
Dan Hooker. He's going to fight Dan Hooker.
I would love to see that one, but that's the only way to go at this point. I don't like the whole building his name on contenders and stuff, or, you know, like, he just has to fight fun fights. That's where he's at.
In other words, Corey just wants to piss in Tony Ferguson's Cheerios. And speaking of pissing on things,
I did not want to.
Speaking of pissing on things,
did not want to.
He wanted to piss in Tony Ferguson's Cheerios. And Tony, if you ever heard this, he doesn't like you. I'm just saying.
His name's Corey. His name is Corey.
Yeah, that's why I let the heartfelt speech out about his career, because
he wanted to piss in his Cheerios just like Nate Diaz did the PI. It was that time.
Yeah.
J-Bone and Kyle do not agree with Corey, just so you know.
The thoughts and sentiments of Corey Lay are not those of knockouts and 3 counts.
But in all seriousness, leading into where you guys want to go next? You want to lead it? You want to cover the main event?
I want to see Nate and McGregor next. Damn it! I want to see Nate and McGregor next, Donald. I want to see him end that shit. But that being said, you know, I wouldn't be mad. You know, you talk about McGregor. You know, we've heard the whole thing with him versus Chandler. That fight doesn't really bother me.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I would like to see that fight.
But I feel as though if that one plays out, I feel like Conor's at a big disadvantage. He's going against somebody who's on a very big win streak, been active, been looking like that guy. You know, it's like
right. But if you're going to do it, don't you have to put him in there with somebody that if he wins, it automatically puts his name back into the title picture? Because we know Conor's not going to fight down low again. So I mean, really, Michael Chandler is like the closest guy, in my opinion. This is how I look at the whole thing. I feel like Michael Chandler is the closest thing that Conor McGregor is going to find to a guy that will actually fight the fight that he wants to fight. And that's going to be on his feet and just trying to bang it out with him. So if I'm Conor McGregor and all the people that are calling for what Conor calls the quote unquote red panty night, I mean, dude, Michael Chandler might be the one that I would pick because Michael Chandler at least is going to stand and fight with him. The last thing Conor wants to do is go on the ground and fight on the ground again.
Yeah, but I feel
Conor can get caught too. We've seen that. You know what I mean?
Right, but he's got a much more better chance of him winning on his feet than against a guy that's going to wrestle him down because we've already seen that he can be taken down, and once he gets taken down, he can get beat up.
Yeah, but if I was him, I would definitely go not the cowboy route again because we've already seen that. But that's why I bring up the likes of the Tony Ferguson and stuff like that is because I feel as though that would be a great matchup for him because both of them are on a skid. Both of them, we needed to see them, you know, at their best and stuff like that. And I feel as though like that's Conor needs those kind of matchups. If you're the UFC, you want to see Conor win, right? Plain and simple. They want to. That's the way they generate the most money, is if he continues to win and is active. And what better place to do that than Tony Ferguson? I think that's definitely a winnable fight. You know, for
Donald, I've been arguing for years that if he would just use his grappling more, he would have won a lot more of his fights. Yeah. But what the hell do I know?
Who, Chandler? Yeah, Chandler. Yes. To your point, is an amazing wrestler. But when do we see it? If we don't,
but dude's been knocking people out. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Even in his Bellator days, like he started his career as a wrestler, but man, he fell in love with that power that he possesses. So that just has not been an implement. That like. How many people said that if you go back and look at the him versus Pitbull when he lost his Bellator belts? I mean, he, you know, it was brought up left and right. If he's just able to wrestle this guy down, man, he'll be able to ground and pound him out like it's nothing. And that's not who he is anymore. It's just not.
All right. Well, we're running short on time. So there's a couple other things we got to talk about. Obviously, UFC is going down this weekend. As I look down the card, it's not like the biggest card that jumps out to you with names or the matchups. To be honest with you, looking down this card, I like the Caitlin Chikagian fight against Amanda Ribas. Jan Blachowicz versus Rakic is a good one. I mean, Kutalaba's all right, but I mean, I don't really look at Ryan Spann as that big of a deal. That Louis Smolka one could be there, but really for me, the two fights on this card are Blachowicz and the Ribas fight.
I'm most surprised that you're not taking this opportunity to shit on your friend Charles Oliveira. That's what I'm surprised about.
Well, I was gonna get. I mean, look,
I was wondering if you're gonna bring it up. I was wondering.
All right,
I wasn't gonna say anything, but.
No, I'm not. No, first of all, before we go into it, now
get it out, Kyle. Get it out.
I will not shit on him for a half-pound weight miss. My issue is that it's a shitty thing for him because we don't know if the scales were fucked up. This is why, as I've said for years, they should just go to digital scales. But that being said, it's tough with this one because while I agree 100%, especially after the performance that he put in, that he should still be right at the top. But at what point do we start saying, man, this motherfucker's missed weight a lot of times?
Yeah. All at 45 though. First one at 55.
Maybe so. Maybe so, but I'm just saying he's missed weight like that's at least 4 or 5 now.
No, I think it's like 7 or some shit. Like,
Exactly
it's a
my
lot.
point. So even if they all are at 45, at what point do you say, okay, well then you don't need to be at 45? We've seen Dana do that to other people,
Yeah, and I think that may have actually been the case
and I'm
when
sure it did. But
he
I'm
got
just
forced
saying
up to
that's why
55.
it's hard for me to like really necessarily feel
Yeah,
sorry for that shit when he's missed weight that many times. But for it to be
I,
over a half a pound, that's shitty. But
as
it,
as
Yeah, it's
somebody
a
who
gray area, right?
carries a
Like,
as somebody who carries a very prideful head of hair, even how do you not cut your fucking hair? How do you not like go to every stretch of the regard? Like you had 1 hour to do everything you could to retain that belt, whether the scale in the back was off or whatever the fucking case be. A half a pound's a half a pound, and I don't like the fact that Arizona was such a stickler about this. We've watched a million times where other champs have weighed in and it's been sketchy and they've just kind of shuffled them to the side and said, you're good, the fight's going on. I hate the fact that like this is the big story leading out of it, especially with the performance he was able to put on, man. Like Gaethje had his couple spots, but it just never, even when he had him hurt and stuff, it never looked like Oliveira was really in any danger. It just looked like it was like a Jaws type of, chasing down their
maybe
prey, man.
so. And I'm
So
not going to say that Charlie Olives didn't look great. The shitty thing about this is we really think about it. Man, Charles Oliveira's got the UFC by the balls because realistically, he's the number one lightweight in the world. Now he won this fight and is essentially the number one contender. So they can't make him,
you can't give him anything else.
Right. You can't move him down the way. And I mean, if anything, even though I'm not a big fan whenever something like that happens, like with weight misses and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, dude, for him to get put on the floor twice and then get up and then put him on the floor and submit them all in one round. I mean, Oliveira's definitely shown the improvement in his stand-up game and just being more well-rounded and not just being a threat on the ground. So like I said, I'll give respect to where it's due, especially where that fight is. I always am not a fan of the weight missing stuff, and especially when you've missed a bunch. This has nothing to do with Oliveira as a fighter. I think he's the best jiu-jitsu practitioner in MMA right now. But
I
like
love
I said,
that point. I love that point because I agree with that 110%.
I just don't
his way to implement things and snatch things up in just a heartbeat. It truly is something to watch.
Yeah, I mean that's all I really got to say as far as Charlie Olives next. I don't really know who they're going to put in there next. I really wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being Islam Makhachev. Something in my mind kind of really makes me think it's going to be Islam Makhachev is going to be the one that gets it, especially with Khabib already chirping about why he should have to fight in an interim title fight when the guy missed weight. I think Islam's going to be the way they go, and it's going to be a real interesting test for him because I think, Makhachev might be able to put him on the ground, but let's see what he can do with somebody with that jiu-jitsu too. Like I said, we were already running short a while ago, so let's go through. We ain't got to go through the whole card on either of these because there's a lot of fights that don't really matter. But Jan Blachowicz and Rakic, who do you got? How are they winning? If you guys are watching the UFC fights or BKFC this weekend and got picks on these fights, let us know in the comments who you got.
Quickly, I feel as though this is a big point for Jan in his career, whether or not we get to see him step forward or step completely backwards. Coming off of his title loss, he looked like a world beater before that, and then now all of a sudden he lost one fight to Glover, didn't look necessarily the greatest, and now he's like a minus 200 dog or something. So it's like
That's what I was gonna.
it's so surprising to me how quick the fans turned on him. I know he hasn't necessarily always had the most amazing career. He has had ups and downs and stuff, but I felt as though he was at the highest of highs, especially for what he was able to showcase and just before this. So I feel as though Jan may be able to get it done against
Rakic.
Rakic. I was about to say Rakic.
I could not get his name out, but Rakic has done an amazing job against like Anthony Smith and stuff like that. But his last couple performances have just been real control fest, and I feel as though if Jan can avoid that, he's got the power to definitely change this fight. So if we see the Jan that fought Dominic Reyes, Jan's getting the victory. If we see the one that fought Glover, then it's going to be Rakic all day.
So who are you picking?
Money wise, I would say probably. I like the money line that Jan's got right now. If I was to pick at one of the two, I'd say put your money on Jan. But it really is a toss-up fight.
That's what I'm doing. I'll say it right here, right now. Taking Jan by knockout, dude. Knockout too. I mean, he's won 9 of his last 11. I mean, come on, dude. He lost one. Like you said, people are like turning on the guy. You know what I mean?
I don't think. Go ahead.
It's kind of crazy for it to go that fast. You know what I mean? It's it's one fight ago. Like,
and I don't really think that was like a real representation of what he can, what is going to happen with Jan. I mean, Glover just did exactly what Glover wanted to do, and caught Jan off guard. Now, if it happens in 2 back-to-back fights, then maybe we've got something to say, because let's not forget the same guy that made Izzy nullified completely.
Right.
So, like I said, you kind of got to see what he's going to do. Amanda Hebos in that fight with Caitlin Chikagian is going to be a real good fight. To be honest with you, I think Amanda Hebos gets this done.
Do you? I feel as though moving up a weight class is going to be not as easy as she thinks it's going to be. I know she had her weight miss in one of her last fights. If it wasn't her last fight, I understand the thought process. So I'll just move up. 25 is not that competitive, and But to take on the one person that literally, like, other than Andrade, who else beats her? Valentina. That's it. Like, Caitlin Chikagian has done a great job.
She's a dog.
And she's done a great job, whether they're split decision or, close fights or whatever. She's done a great job of just plucking every single other fighter off of 125. So I feel as though Caitlin Chikagian gets this done, man. I don't see where, unless Hebos is able to somehow get her down and sub her, I don't think is going to be the case. I really don't, because I think Caitlin Chikagian's longer, bigger, and going to be a little bit stronger. It's going to be a tough fight for Hebos, man. I'm surprised in the matchup. When I seen this one announced, I was very surprised.
Well, I forgot that she was going up a weight class in this one. That might have made me turn out to be a dumbass here, but we're gonna find out on Saturday. What are you taking this one on, J-Bone?
It's gonna be my second leg on the parlay, dude. Taking Jan, I'm taking Chikagian. So I'm gonna take her money line though. I'm not gonna get crazy with that one, because I'm trying to walk away with some money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would.
Hey man, walk away with your own money. Hit the homies from G3.
There we go.
I would not try to pick a method of victory in that one other than a decision or the over.
Yeah.
But
I'm honestly, and then as far as BKFC goes, to be honest with you, dude, I'm honestly more interested for the co-main event than I am the main event, to be honest with you. But Houston Alexander and Jason Fish, I don't think anybody's going to really last that long in that fight. I think somebody's going to die. So yeah, somebody's going to die, or somebody's going to get cut open or something. It's going to be a gnarly fight. But man, any quick thoughts about Nate Diaz and that golden shower on the UFC PI allegedly?
Man, the UFC kind of deserves it, if you want my quick thoughts, because they've been holding this man back for legit a year, and the only fight that they
the piss on the building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you surprised?
Yeah.
Are you surprised?
You won't give me a fight? I'm not surprised.
Are you surprised, motherfuckers?
Like, think about all the money that could have been earned if he wasn't.
I'm not arguing that part at all.
So that was before the whole thing had came out, and I seen it in the notes. I was actually going to include that in part of my corner, is how much longer can we continue to do this holding him back when he clearly just wants to get in there and get the contract fulfilled.
Yeah.
Like that's literally all he says too, is just get me the fuck out of here. That's all I want. It's just, let's be done. Like, and for it to play out this way where they're like not saying anything, they're just literally ignoring the question. And I get trying to be media in this world of MMA is tough when you have direct access and stuff, and your press pass can be so easily revoked from these organizations, and then you're just kind of screwed. But like the fact that nobody's in these media or nobody's in the questionnaires was asking Dana like, hey, what are we going to do with this? Like nobody's bringing it to the forefront or anything.
Yeah.
And it's one of your biggest stars in the company, and it's just kind of going by the wayside's incredible to me. I don't makes no sense.
I mean, I think his last fight should be the trilogy with McGregor, but
agreed.
Okay, and if that's the case, then why didn't he fight one fight now? Wait for Conor to get fucking healthy. Like, why do we gotta do this whole like? He could have fought 4 or 5 different people in between the span. Not saying he would have been that active, but he could have definitely done it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be out of the thought process that he gets 3 fights in this last year that he's been rambling on. And now we just get nothing. We're just left, high and dry. And he's, lost out on so much money making opportunities. It's, it's unfortunate. What happened to Dana always saying we offer everybody 3 fights a year, or else we got to pay them, they're as if they won 3 fights. Like what happened to that? Yeah.
All right. Good point.
I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out. I certainly won't be taking a piss on the post office because I need my job. But, we're going to have to see what goes on after we try to survive Uncle Chase's wedding. All the more reason that you need to be here this Tuesday. And boy, do we got a surprise for you come Tuesday. We saw Darren McCarty, lose his shit and fanboy over Masada. And we got to see the stylings of Masada this past weekend at Harpo's for RPW and with Circle 6 and all the homies down there. Masada, who just made his debut here in Michigan, will be joining us next week, Tuesday, on the show. Like I said, we're gonna get to know a little bit behind the blood and guts. Like I said, Masada will be here. I'll have my new fancy light up desk. It's gonna be a good day. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a fucking thing. And if you're at Control Your Narrative and you see a big 6'3" son of a bitch walking behind me, you already might know who it is, but mind your fucking business. Peace.